Hi everyone. So today we'll be discussing on the topic longest common subsequence, nothing but LCS, right? So this is one of the famous DP algorithms. Let's see what the definition part says here, right? So the longest common subsequence, LCS, what it does, it finds the longest or the longest sequence, sorry, of the characters that appear in the same order in two strings. See, it's as simple as that. Let me read this one again. Just listen to this carefully. LCS finds the longest sequence of the characters that appear in the same order in two strings. Same order in two strings. This part is very important. Yeah. Just keep this in mind, but not necessarily contiguously. Yep. So it might not appear continuously as well. Right. So that's what they have mentioned here. This is very important. Right. So it is classic dynamic programming problem because overlapping subproblems repeat. Right. So overlapping subproblems repeat here. To avoid the recomputation, we will be making use of the dynamic programming. It is one of the classic dynamic programming or DP problems actually. Yep. Now we are done with the definition part. Let's move on with the algorithm explanation. First thing, see here, we will be making use of the 2D DP table. Yep. Tabulation, nothing but the iterative approach. So we will be going with the iterative approach, tabulation, as well as what can I say? Hmm, yeah, that is nothing but the bottom up approach. In simple terms, we'll be going with the bottom up approach. We'll be making use of the 2D DP table where DP of ij is equivalent to the LCS length of first I characters of S1 and first j characters of S2. Yep, so this is fine. Again, we'll be making use of 2D DP table where DP of ij is equivalent to the LCS length of first I characters of S1 and first j characters of S2. Yep. Next, if the characters match, then we'll take the diagonal plus 1. Yep. Suppose if the characters match in both, then we'll be considering the diagonal plus 1. Yep. Then else we'll take the max from top or left. The top starts with the same thing from the left itself, right? So we'll be taking the max from top or left. Final answer will be at the DP of n and m respectively. Yep. So final answer will be returning DP of n and m, right? As we are dealing with a 2D DP table. Yep. So this is fine. If you didn't understand everything, this is fine. So we'll be articulating the same thing in the form of code, and then we'll dry run the code accordingly with the example that we will be considering within the code. So at the end, I assure you that at the end of the video, you'll understand this particular algorithm clearly, right? So now let's articulate the same thing in the form of code. Let's do that. Yep. So the first thing here, so this buffered reader and print writer, whatever I have written, so this is related to the this one. What do we call input output part? Yep. So next, let's move on with the main part or the core logic part. So yeah, first I'll just go with here string S1. We have to consider two strings, right? So I'll just go with string S1 equals buffered reader dot readline. See here. So this one I'll just replace it with a string actually. Yeah, I'll just hard code the strings after the dry run. So for now, I'll just give buffered reader dot readline, right? So yep. So this is one thing I wanted to share. So now I'll just go with a string, one more string S2 here. This one buffered reader dot readline. This one again. Yep. So this is fine. Now, after considering the strings, we have to go with the length of first as well as the second strings. For that, we'll be going with n and m respectively. Yep, I'll just go with n equals s1 dot length. This is fine. Next, int m equals s2 dot length. Yep, so this is also fine. So let me remove this one. Yeah, so n and m. So this is nothing but the length of string s1. This is nothing but length of string s2. So this is fine. Now let's go with the DP table where DP of ij is equivalent to LCS of S1, nothing but from 0 to I minus 1, and S2, nothing but 0 to j minus 1. Yeah, so I'll just go with here int DP equals new int of n plus 1 as well as m plus 1. So this is fine, man. Next, what we are going to do, so let's loop through the characters of the first string as well as the second string. Yep. So I'll just go with a simple for loop here. So this one will be int I equals 1, I less than or equal to n, next I plus plus. Yep. So this is fine. Next, one more for loop. So this one will be int j equals 1, j less than or equal to m, next j plus plus. So this is also fine. So within the for loop, what shall we do? First thing, if the characters match, then we have to take the diagonal value plus one accordingly with the algorithm. You can clearly see here, right? So we are going with a this one 2D DP table where DP of ij is nothing but the LCS length. So this is fine. We have already done that one. If the characters match, then we have to take the diagonal plus one, right? Let's write the same thing in the form of code. So how can we write if the characters match? Let's go with a simple if condition. If S1 dot, I'll just make use of the caret here. Within the caret, actually, I'll just mention I minus 1 that is equal to S2 dot caret. So again, the same thing, but instead of I, I'll just go with a J minus 1 here. Right? If the characters match, then we have to take the diagonal value plus 1. For that, I can just write in this way. See, dp of I and j equivalent to dp of I minus 1 into j minus 1 plus 1. So this is fine. Next, else what we'll be doing? Else we have to take the maximum from top or left. That's what we have to do. For that, I'll just go with dp of I j is equivalent to math dot max here, math dot max of dp of I minus 1 into j, dp of I minus 1 into j. So this is fine. Next, what we'll do? 1 second. Next, I'll just go with dp of I into j minus 1. dp of I into j minus 1. So this is fine, I believe. Let me come out of this one entirely. Now we have to print the final LCS length. Nothing but I'll just go with out dot println, nothing but out dot println of dp of n and m respectively. N and m respectively. Next, we have to flush the output. For flushing the output, I'll just go with out dot flush. Let me go with out dot flush as we are making use of the print writer. So this is it for the code. Let me format the code so that this looks good. See, so later I'll change this one, this part, S1 and S2 part. I'll just hard code the examples, right? So I'll just consider strings here instead of the buffer data dot read line. So this is fine, I believe. Now, there are no typos, I believe, and I don't see any error. So before running the code, let's do one thing. Let's dry run the code so that we get to know whatever the code that we have written is correct or not. And also we get to know the output for the example that we have considered. See, output here, I'll be hard coding the strings. So let's consider the input string directly within the dry run itself, right? So then we can just go with the same input here as well for the strings S1 and S2, right? So this is fine, I believe. And later we can come back here and run the code that we have written. First, let's dry run the code. Yep, let's do that. So let's dry run the code for for the this one. The same thing. Let's dry run the code that we had written actually. So let's consider two strings here. The same string will be considering within the code as well instead of the buffer data dot read line as discussed, right? So I'll just consider this one. Just give me a second here. Yeah. So string one, let's go with a very simple example, man. Here I'll just go with A, B, C, D, E, right? So this is fine. String S2, there are some characters that should be present in the this one, S1 as well, when we consider this one S2, right? So I'll just go with ACE, right? So this is fine. Now, let's go with a DP filling logic. Accordingly with the code that we have written, I'll just go with DP filling logic here, right? So first thing here, you can clearly see. So in the algorithm, we have strictly discussed that it shouldn't be, there is nowhere written that the character should be contiguous itself or continuous itself, right? So character should match. That's it. There is nowhere written that character has to match contiguously, right? So we can just consider A here, C here, this one E here, right? So same thing goes with S2, A, C, E gets matched here, right? So first thing here, A matches actually, yeah, A matches and B also. Sorry, next one is C, right? So A next string one has C according to the code that we have written. C is in the S2 as well. So C matches. Then E, right? This one E matches. Yeah, E matches. A, C as well as E matches here in this case. Yeah. So A for A, DP becomes 1. DP gets incremented from 0 to 1. Right. Next, DP gets incremented to 2. Right. So DP gets incremented to 2. So this one, 1 second, one. So I'll just erase this one. So this is not required. So let me write this one directly here. dp becomes 1, dp becomes 2, not dp of 1, dp of 2. Okay. Then e matches here, right? So see here, you can clearly see a c e. So this one a c e, right? So then e matches, so dp becomes 3, right? dp becomes 3. So at the end we have 3 as we are making use of the tabulation. So the bottom right or the last value will be bottom right value that is present in the last cell, bottom right cell, the value that is present in the bottom right cell or the last value will be displayed as the output. So here in this case, it will be dp of 5 and 3. You can just count. This one will be dp of 5, 3, that is equivalent to 3. So this one will be displayed as output actually. Yeah, output will be dp of 5, 3 is equivalent to 3, nothing but output will be getting 3 here, right? We are going with the longest common sequence. So one more thing, the only thing that we have to keep in mind here is, so we are not considering this one. What do we call? Contiguous, this one, characters itself, right? So it might be contiguous or the non-contiguous, right? So here in this case, the output has to be 3. Output has to be 3 here in our case. So we have discussed the algorithm. We have written the code as well. Now we have dry run the code by considering the example. The only thing that is left is we have to, there are two things left. We have to run the code we have to run the code that we have written. And if everything goes well, if we get the desired output, then we have to discuss the complexities for the code that we have written. Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. So now let's do one thing. Let's run the code that we have written. Yeah. So first let's change this one here. So this one will be not this one. Where is yeah, buffer data dot readline. So this one, let me consider A, B, C, D, E here, right? So this is fine. And also I'll just consider here A, C, E respectively. Yep. So this is fine. Now let me run the code. Yep. So the output that we need to get here is 3, right? So I'll just run the code. Yeah. See here, we are getting the output 3. Right? So we are getting the output 3. So we are almost done with everything, right? Except the part that we have to discuss the complexities for the code that we have written. So we are getting the desired output according to the dry run that we had done earlier, right? So let's discuss the complexities for the code that we have written. Let's do that quickly. So what is the time complexity for the code that we have written? The time complexity would lead to big O of n into m, right? So the time complexity would lead to big O of n into m, and the space complexity would lead to big O of n into m as well, right? So why the time complexity here leads to big O of n into m? Because see, we are going with every DP cell, or each DP cell will be computed exactly once, right? Each DP cell will be computed exactly once. Just give me a second here. What happened? So here, each cell in the DP will be computed exactly once. Then the space complexity part. So what will be the space complexity here? The space complexity would lead to big of n into m as well, right? So this is due to the 2D DP table storage. Yeah, the time complexity and the space complexity for the code that we have written would lead to big of n into m and big of n into m respectively, right? So this is fine. Now we are done with the complexities part as well. So we're left with only, we are not left with anything, right? So we are done with this one. What do we call? Longest common subsequence algorithm. Next, what we'll be doing, we will be discussing longest increasing subsequence algorithm. Yep. For now, this is it. Thanks for watching, guys.